ser una artista en Roma y ser la mejor pintora del mundo.
Eso es lo que tú quieres, ¿no, Joe? Ser una escritora famosa. Sí, pero suena muy vulgar cuando lo dice ella.
Mis hijas siempre andan metiéndose en líos.
Bueno, yo también. Os presento a Meg, Amy, Beth y yo.
Pienso abrirme mi propio camino en el mundo.
I loved the way you deconstruct and rewrite the story, and I was wondering, was it clear to you from the beginning how and in which order to tell the story?
Well, from the beginning, when I grew up with a novel, but I hadn't read it since I was like 14, and then when I read it when I was 30, I was struck by how modern and how urgent it was, and I instantly knew that I wanted to make a film, and I knew that I wanted to ground it when they were adults, and start when they were adults, and I knew really early that the first scene I wanted to have Joe March trying to sell a story, because I wanted it to be about authorship and ownership and how we tell our stories about who we are and how we make our art. But I looked at the, I really looked at the novel as something that I was exploding and then re-putting back together, and I felt like finding the weave between the two parts was, a lot of it fell into place, because I think these two parts of the book are really talking to each other anyway, so I was really just emphasizing what was already there.
And did you also put the pages on the floor like Joe does and rearrange them?
I put pages on the floor. Really? I stole that from myself.
Yes,
yes. I know. I like looking at things out on the floor. So someone on the production team was like, "Who puts all their pages on the floor?" And I was like, "I do." I think it also physicalizes it for me. It makes it like I'm making a quilt or something tactile. It doesn't, it stops being so much in here and it starts being out there.
What did you learn from working with such an amazing and big cast, with so many young, talented actors and legends such as Meryl Streep?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I'm astonished by the talent and the intelligence and the thoughtfulness that came to play on this film, and yeah, I mean, God, it's an embarrassment of riches. But I learned from them how I think I learned from them how to conduct an orchestra of geniuses. I mean, there's some scenes where there's 8 people talking at once, and there's just all these different pieces, and I think as a director, this is the second film I've directed on my own, and before that, I'd written and co-directed and produced, but I feel like I'm expanding my skill set, really, and I think that sense of, if from Lady Bird, which was, a smaller orchestra, it's a string quartet, really, and then moving into a bigger crowd and figuring out how to make it all come to life. It was. I think I learned a lot.
Who was the most fun and the most challenging character to write for you?
I mean, the most fun character to write was Aunt Marge, because I could just have her say lots of nasty things. That was always fun. And the most challenging character to write for me was Beth, because I didn't want her to be a saint slated for death. I didn't want her to be so just heaven-bound. I wanted her to be earthbound, and I think the key to actually writing Beth was to allow her to be extremely weird. Because I think her strangeness and her weirdness cuts against her her goodness in a good way.
If Joe, who lived in 2019, would she be a filmmaker?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I mean, I think she'd be... I don't know. I've thought about this a lot. Like, part of me thinks she'd be like J.K. Rowling, that kind of writer, or there's so many writers that I think she could graft onto. But yeah, a writer, a filmmaker, but
make a huge empire.
She could make an empire, exactly. She would be like George Lucas.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Hay ciertas personas que son indomables.